Hi, Greg Parry from the Wellness Foundation, and today we're going to look at something which I hope will make a fantastic difference to the quality of your life. It's the start of a new week, let's make it a fantastic one, and if you're ready to learn how to tame your stress, well, let's get started. You know, one of the things that I'm deeply conscious of is that we are bombarded with all kinds of negative stories in the media. I mean, you look at the newspapers, television, the way that reporting is conducted. It seems like the mission is to shock us. It's to really grab our attention rather than just inform us of the facts of what's going on. One of the problems is that when we react to all of this stimulus, we tend to react quite negatively. I mean, life is stressful enough. But have you noticed that we tend to get upset about pretty much everything? And that's a problem. And what I'm going to suggest to you in this video is that we take a slightly different approach. Now, it might sound controversial, it might sound kind of crazy, but we've been doing this for a long time, and this is an amazing way for you to regain some of your missing equilibrium, to just get some of that balance back into your life. And we've got a special word for it. It's an expression which we use, which we call positive indifference. Let me explain. Every time something happens in the world, whether it's something that's personal, or whether it's something quite remote, something you see on the TV or read in the news or in social media, we tend to react, and we react emotionally. And this reaction takes up an enormous amount of energy, and it usually produces quite a negative response. It increases our stress, it promotes our anxiety, it destabilizes us from a psychological point of view. And because it keeps us constantly off balance, it affects our judgment, our equilibrium, but it also affects the quality of our life. And one of the coolest ways of dealing with this is to learn to become a little bit more detached. Now, when I say positive indifference, that's a deliberate expression, because it doesn't mean that we just shrug our shoulders and pretend the world is perfect, or that we just don't care. Far from it. What we're learning to do is to measure our responses, to measure how we react. Because if you're really being honest about it, most of our reactions make absolutely no difference whatsoever. Well, apart from making a difference to the quality of our lives and the quality of our health. Most of these negative reactions that are engendered by all the terrible stories in the news, all those headlines, the shock this, the shock that, they are not very good for us, because when we react, we feel pretty anxious. It increases our stress. But when you take a moment to pause and ask yourself an incredibly important question, what difference does my reaction make? That's quite a sobering question, because we're so conditioned to respond instantly, to pour our emotional energy into every headline that pops up, that it becomes an automatic response. And most of the headlines are designed to attract our attention by producing a very, very strong emotional reaction. This is where life can become much more interesting. It's a fantastic way for you to feel like you're more in control of life. Because instead of pouring your emotion into the reaction, you can take a step back. This act of creating distance between yourself and whatever's happening changes your perspective. I mean, the fact is, when any kind of a problem, whether it's real or imaginary, or just a product of some clever headlines in the press, whenever it appears right under your nose, it seems to dominate the horizon. And it changes your perspective. In fact, I would suggest it distorts your view of where that problem really belongs. But when you take a step back, the problem might still be there, but now it's further away, and you can see it in a clearer context. And when it's further away, it seems a little less scary, a little less frightening. And then you can decide whether you really want to react, or whether you just want to look at it coolly, logically, calmly, without investing all of that emotional energy. Now, we've worked with an awful lot of people over the years, and helping people to develop this sense of positive indifference has made a remarkable contribution to the quality of their lives. You can even apply this in more personal circumstances. So instead of overreacting every time something gets in the way of your plans or there's some kind of objection to what you're doing, how you're doing it, whatever the circumstances, you can learn to stop, to pause, to take a break and create a little bit of distance. And then it doesn't seem so challenging. In fact, it doesn't really look like a problem at all. You can accept that other people have different views. And this kind of positive indifference allows you to remain calm and centered, seeing the situation much more clearly. Now, we say positive indifference because it also gives you a chance to evaluate whether you can really make a difference. I'm not a big fan of complaining about things, especially if your complaints don't make a difference. But the moment that you decide that you can make a contribution, you can improve a situation, you can get involved and make a difference, that's entirely different. But that's based on making a rational evaluation of the problem and your ability to make a positive difference to it. Do you see the difference? When you just react automatically, you're not really in control of your reaction and you're not really making any contribution to improving the situation. But if you can make a difference, then you can make a logical choice about what and how and when you want to intervene into any particular situation. That's a huge difference. Now, I'm commending this to you because it is an extraordinary way for you to just become a little bit more aware of how you're reacting to the events around you. Now, when you develop positive indifference, you find that you become much calmer, you feel more centered, your rational, analytical faculty is enhanced, and you're no longer pushed around by whatever random information happens to pop up in the press or on social media. That's a way of staying calm and centered, and it also helps you to look at things more critically, with a little bit more logic, a lot less emotion. And that can make a massive difference because you're just not going to be wasting energy, pouring all of your fear and doubt into a situation that you perhaps can't even change anyway. Now, I really hope you found this useful. We have so many ideas that I would really look forward to sharing with you, and that's our plan. It's the reason why we're operating this channel, to help you to get in touch with ideas and methods and techniques that can really make a positive contribution to the quality of your life. I'm Greg Parry from the Wellness Foundation. The links to the foundation and to our cognitive empowerment programs are below the screen. If you enjoy the material, please consider liking it and also consider hitting that subscribe button so that you can keep up to date with all of this information as soon as it comes out. Once again, I look forward to seeing you again next week, and I really hope that you have the most amazing week. Till the next time, I'll see you soon.